Tom Cruise has always been Hollywood's unstoppable force, the man who leapt from planes, clung to skyscrapers, and defied age with every role. But now, at 62, his shocking transformation has left fans stunned, critics buzzing, and the world asking, what really happened to Tom Cruise? From career reinventions to personal revelations, the truth behind his headline-making change is far more dramatic than any movie he's ever made. When Tom Cruise first appeared on screen in the early 1980s, few could have predicted just how quickly he would dominate Hollywood. His boyish charm and risky business instantly made him a household name. But it was Top Gun in 1986 that transformed him into a global superstar. With his trademark aviator sunglasses and that unforgettable grin, Cruise wasn't just acting, he was defining a generation's idea of cool. But behind the image of the fearless young actor was a man intensely driven, even obsessed with proving himself. Unlike many of his contemporaries, Cruise refused to settle into being just another Hollywood heartthrob. Every role he chose became a strategic move. Rain Man showcased his depth. Born on the 4th of July earned him critical acclaim, and an Oscar nomination and a few good men cemented his ability to command the screen opposite Hollywood heavyweights. By the 1990s, Cruise had evolved from teen idol into one of the most bankable actors in the world. His face alone could guarantee a blockbuster opening, and his reputation as a perfectionist ensured that his films consistently delivered. The launch of the Mission Impossible franchise in 1996 marked a turning point. Not only was Cruise starring in one of the most ambitious action series ever attempted, but he was also producing, demonstrating that his transformation wasn't just physical, but professional. He was becoming a mogul in his own right. What made Cruise truly different, however, was his obsession with performing his own stunts. While most actors relied on doubles, Cruise insisted on pushing his body to the limit, whether it meant dangling from cliffs in Mission Impossible 2 or later hanging from airplanes in mid-flight. This relentless pursuit of authenticity became his trademark, but it also began to raise questions. At what cost was he pushing himself? As the years passed, his personal life made as many headlines as his films. His marriages, from Mimi Rogers to Nicole Kidman and later Katie Holmes, played out under relentless media scrutiny. His connection to the Church of Scientology further complicated his image, with many critics suggesting that his faith shaped both his career choices and his relationships. Yet, despite the controversies, Tom Cruise remained untouchable at the box office. His ability to reinvent himself, to transform from the clean-cut golden boy to the ageless action star was unmatched. But that transformation came with sacrifices, physically, emotionally, and personally. As he aged, the world began to look closer, noticing not just his daring stunts and blockbuster hits, but also the toll his pursuit of perfection was taking. The man once defined by youthful charm was becoming something else entirely, a figure whose transformation was no longer just about Hollywood success, but about survival in an industry that rarely forgives age. As Tom Cruise aged into his 40s and 50s, something remarkable, and at times unsettling, began to unfold. Unlike many actors who gracefully transitioned into character roles, Cruise clung fiercely to the image of the action star. He wasn't just starring in action films, he was redefining what was physically possible for a man his age. From sprinting across rooftops in Mission Impossible to flying helicopters for Fallout, Cruise seemed determined to defy the laws of time. But with that determination came a dramatic transformation in his appearance. Fans and critics alike began to notice subtle changes in his face, sparking endless debates about whether he had undergone cosmetic procedures. Photographs from red carpets told a story of shifting jawlines, tightened skin, and features that looked at once familiar and yet strangely altered. Some saw it as evidence of Hollywood's obsession with eternal youth. Others defended him, suggesting the changes were simply the natural result of his extreme stunt training, diet, and lifestyle. Physically, his body told another story. Cruise's discipline became legendary. Colleagues spoke of his grueling workout routines, his strict diet, and his relentless insistence on controlling every aspect of his fitness. For him, staying in peak condition wasn't about vanity. It was survival. Each new stunt demanded that his body be stronger, faster, and more durable than before, but no amount of preparation could hide the toll it was taking. Injuries on set, including a broken ankle during Mission Impossible, Fallout, became stark reminders that even Tom Cruise was not invincible. Behind the camera, his personal life was also undergoing seismic shifts. His very public divorce from Katie Holmes in 2012 left lasting scars on his reputation. For the first time, cracks began to show in his carefully controlled image. The media speculated endlessly about the role Scientology played in the breakdown of his marriage, and Holmes' decision to protect their daughter, Suri, only deepened the public's fascination with Cruise's private world. These personal struggles were compounded by a cultural shift in how Hollywood audiences viewed their heroes. The younger generation, raised on Marvel superheroes and CGI spectacle, began to question Cruise's place as an aging action star. Yet paradoxically, this skepticism only seemed to fuel him further. Instead of retreating into quieter roles, Cruise doubled down, determined to prove he could still carry the weight of a blockbuster franchise on his shoulders. His transformation wasn't only physical, it was philosophical. Cruise seemed to embrace the idea that his entire identity was tied to his ability to do the impossible. For fans, this was both inspiring and unsettling. They admired his stamina, his refusal to slow down, his almost superhuman dedication. But they also saw a man chasing something unattainable, the illusion of timelessness. And so, as the years rolled on, Tom Cruise became less of a Hollywood actor and more of a symbol of ambition, obsession, and the cost of refusing to let go. His transformation wasn't just about his face or his body. It was about how far he was willing to go to remain the icon he had always been. If there's one thing Tom Cruise has mastered, it's the art of reinvention. In an industry that is notoriously ruthless toward aging stars, Cruise found ways to remain relevant not once, but multiple times throughout his career. His transformation wasn't simply physical. It was strategic, professional, and often brilliantly calculated. The Mission Impossible franchise became the cornerstone of this reinvention. What began as a clever adaptation of a classic TV show evolved into Cruise's personal playground for cinematic innovation. With each installment, he pushed the limits further, ensuring audiences associated him with spectacle and authenticity. He wasn't just starring in action films, he was redefining the genre. While other actors faded into supporting roles, Cruise doubled down on his action hero persona, ensuring fans never questioned whether he could still carry a $200 million film on his shoulders. But outside of Mission Impossible, Cruise carefully chose projects that highlighted different facets of his talent. In Collateral, 2004, he shocked audiences with his portrayal of a cold-blooded contract killer, a performance that reminded critics he wasn't just a stuntman, but a skilled actor capable of depth and darkness. In Edge of Tomorrow, 2014, he reinvented himself again, playing a cowardly officer forced to relive the same battle over and over until he became a warrior. The film resonated with younger audiences and showed Cruise could adapt his star power to modern storytelling styles. Yet for every reinvention, there were also missteps. Films like The Mummy, 2017, intended to launch Universal's ill-fated Dark Universe, were critical and commercial disappointments. These failures exposed the fragility of Cruise's career strategy. Critics argued that he was clinging too tightly to his action hero identity, unwilling to step aside and embrace age-appropriate roles. For the first time, his transformation was not universally admired. Public perception also played a major role in shaping his legacy. Cruise's infamous 2005 couch-jumping incident on The Oprah Winfrey Show and his heated debates about psychiatry cast him in a controversial light. For years, the public's fascination with his personal life, especially his connection to Scientology, threatened to overshadow his professional achievements. Studios grew cautious, and some wondered if his days as Hollywood's most bankable star were numbered. But Cruise had one more reinvention up his sleeve. In 2022, Top Gun, Maverick became the film that redefined his legacy. The long-awaited sequel to his 1986 classic shattered box office records, becoming one of the highest-grossing films of the decade. More importantly, it bridged generations of moviegoers. Older fans saw a nostalgic return of their hero, while younger audiences discovered a star who refused to fade away. The film wasn't just a hit. It was a cultural event, restoring Cruise's image as Hollywood's last true movie star. The success of Maverick proved that Cruise's transformation wasn't only about stunts or appearances. It was about resilience. He had weathered scandals, box office failures, and changing audience tastes, yet emerged stronger. His relentless pursuit of reinvention turned him into something rare in today's industry, an enduring global icon. But as fans celebrated his triumphant return, questions lingered. Could Cruise keep pushing his body and career to such extremes? Or had his transformation come at a cost even he could no longer ignore? Every transformation comes with a cost, and for Tom Cruise, the bill has been steep. His determination to maintain the image of Hollywood's ageless action hero has left fans both in awe and in concern. At 62, Cruise continues to perform stunts that would test even the youngest athletes, leaping from cliffs on motorcycles, dangling from planes, and subjecting his body to punishing training schedules. While these feats make headlines, they also raise a sobering question. How much longer can he push himself before his body gives out? Injuries have already provided glimpses of the risks. During the filming of Mission Impossible: Fallout, Cruise broke his ankle in a rooftop jump. Gone wrong. Rather than delay production, he famously pushed through the pain, completing the scene and returning to work as soon as possible. To audiences, it was proof of his dedication. To insiders, it was a troubling sign of his refusal to slow down. Age might be a number to Cruise, but even the toughest action star cannot escape biology. The emotional cost has been just as significant. His strained relationships with his ex-wives, his daughter Suri, and longtime colleagues reveal the toll of a life lived under relentless pressure. For decades, Cruise has been defined by perfectionism, and perfection comes at the expense of vulnerability. Friends have described him as intensely focused, but often isolated, a man so devoted to his craft and his beliefs that personal connections have sometimes been sacrificed. There's also the question of legacy. Cruise has built an empire on his own terms, but critics argue that his obsession with control, from producing his own films to managing every detail of his image, has created a kind of cage. He has become both the architect and prisoner of his own legend. Audiences adore him for never backing down, yet wonder if he's chasing an impossible dream, eternal relevance in an industry built on constant change. Still, Cruise has shown no signs of slowing. Mission: Impossible, Dead Reckoning. Part 2. Promises to push boundaries even further, and industry insiders whisper about other ambitious projects on the horizon. He remains one of the few stars who can open a film globally on name recognition alone, a feat even younger actors can't achieve. But what comes next may not be about bigger stunts or higher box office numbers. As Cruise approaches his mid-60s, fans and critics alike are beginning to hope for a different kind of transformation, one that embraces his age and allows him to explore roles that don't require him to risk his life. His performances in films like Magnolia and Collateral showed the depth he's capable of when freed from the need to play the invincible hero. Perhaps the most powerful chapter of his career still lies ahead, one where he allows audiences to see not just the legend, but the man behind it. Tom Cruise's transformation has indeed been making the headlines. But as his story continues, it's clear the world isn't just watching the action star anymore. They're waiting to see if he can finally transform into something even greater, a human being willing to embrace both his triumphs and his scars.